I use video games for a lot of things. Sometimes it's an escape, not
Oh yeah,
not
escape.
often. Sometimes video games are kind of my thing to just like end of the day. I'm tired from work, or I've been like I streamed, which is a whole other thing, and I just want to like chill out. Like games are kind of that thing for me.
I think that's what it is for most people, but I've struggled in my adult years to try and get into gaming on a casual basis, unless it's like unless I'm like playing some like Overwatch or Team Fortress type game where I'm like actually playing against other like
That's very.
computers. But like I would love to get back in touch with my childhood because it just feels like the only time I can motivate myself to actually try a new video game is when I'm doing it for content, and I feel like that's an unhealthy relationship with video games. Can I just say that like the way that they redesigned the dragons that you rescue in this game is really cool because like the original Spyro the Dragon was literally just like that. It felt like the same polygonal dragon with a slight recolor or something.
It was the same models. It was like 5 or 6 models. Just reused over and over, and maybe like differences between where you are. But also, I have some fun facts about this game because I just know too many things.
Go on.
So, Reignited trilogy. Toys for Bob, main developers, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how many people remember this, but the game got delayed by a couple months when it originally came out. That is because Toys for Bob spent too much time on Spyro 1, making it as good as it is.
Sounds about right.
And so for the last few like months of development, they spent all their time doing Spyro 2. And they farmed out Spyro 3 to a different studio. In fact, 2 different studios, which was Sanzaru and Koharu Games. Sanzaru are the guys who made Sly 4. And a few other things here and there. But so that is why, if you've ever played these, Spyro 3 feels a little different overall. Like, the studios still work together. Like, Toys for Bob's artists still worked on, design and shit, but the games just feel a little different.
It definitely feels like they put the most effort into Spyro 1, especially with like just the significant difference in character designs, because the Crash Bandicoot remakes, they specifically went like, okay, this is exactly what the original characters would look like translated into like modern 3D. The Spyro remakes were just like, we're just redesigning every single character like back up again from the ground up.
And that's the thing. Toys for Bob, like, I know they're kind of a studio that have only really come up in, name notoriety in the last few years, but they do go hard on their creation stuff. They are a very artistically driven studio, and you gotta kind of love that, particularly when you're owned by fucking Activision.
Speaking of PS1 remakes, did you see? Did you see the news recently? That was like on Twitter, the original creator of a very certain PS1 platformer game that I adore and I think is the greatest game of all time, came out with the news that saying that it's a little bit early. It's way in pre-production, but they might, very might, actually be making a remake of Croc Legend of the Gobbers!
I was gonna cut you off and say something stupid, but yeah, I did see that. I actually, the moment I saw that, the first thing I thought is, I gotta congratulate Mitch. Just because, like, you and I are like 2 of the only people I know who like Croc quite a bit, and I love Croc, but I've never properly beaten it because as I've gotten older, every time I've tried to replay it, issues pop up in my brain.
So for me, Croc is a lot like how a lot of people view the original Star Wars. It's like it's one of the first of its like genre of 3D platforms. Believe me, Croc was supposed to come out before Super Mario 64, and you can quote me on that. It was, so genuinely speaking, it was supposed to be the first like character mascot 3D platformer. It just got like delayed to high heaven, and like, and people think that that it like ripped off other platformers, but it's a bit hard to do that when you're the first. But
Yeah,
whatever.
Wasn't it
Go
gonna
off,
be
I
like
guess.
a Yoshi game at one point? I think?
Initially, it was going to be a Yoshi game, but then they kind of
Yeah.
got screwed over by Nintendo, who basically took their like Star Fox. They took their idea for like a 3D. They literally showed off Super Mario 64 at the exact same convention where Argonaut was showing off Croc. And apparently, there's a story about Shigeru Miyamoto coming over and apologizing, like in person.
Good on it, but still.
But still, yeah, it's
Jesus.
kind of a dick,
Yeah.
kind of a dick move to like reject them and then like you do the same idea and outdo them.
Yeah, I grew up with Croc. It's a game that I hold very near and dear, but like I can't say I've ever properly beaten it. I need to
I know.
one day.
Honestly, that is perfectly fair because like when you play a game as a kid versus like playing games all throughout your life, at a certain point of like playing like the quality of gaming in general has just gotten better and better, arguably, but generally it's gotten better and better and better. So the better games you play throughout time, it's the same with like stuff like YouTube videos and like movies and stuff like that. Like there are some YouTubers from like way back in the day where I try to watch them today and I'm like, I really loved them back then, but there's better stuff now, and there's a small part of me that gets nostalgic and goes like, oh man, I really wish this guy would come back. But then like I look back at their old stuff and I'm like, I used to watch this. This stuff isn't good by modern standards. Like there are better things now, and that's how I feel like most people feel about Croc. Is that it was good for its time for what it was trying to do, but because there are so many games out now that do what Croc did better, it's hard for people to see it in context. It's difficult for people to acknowledge the context that it was in, and they just view it as a bad game because it is in retrospect. But it's like it's a good game.
It is. I love it.
The music is phenomenal.
Mitch, it's okay.
The
You can get
aesthetic
down.
is great.
You can get down off your soapbox. It's okay. I agree with you. No, I love.
Oh no, I just know that there's an audience out there. Oh man, there's so many rants that I could go on. Did you see that like the Flash movie is getting mixed reviews? And that's like the first movie where you think I would like it, but actually I think it's really bad.
Yeah, I saw that. I still haven't seen it, and I kind of want to just to make up my own mind, but at the same time, like, yeah.
I won't spoil anything other than the fact that the Batman scenes are the best ones.
I've already spoiled myself a little bit because I was curious about certain things, but like, you know, I don't know the broad strokes. But anyway, fucking Croc. I was gonna say, I wanted to congratulate you because you are one of the few people I've ever known to hold out hope so hard for a Croc HD anything. Yes! And I had given up hope for that a long time ago.
Even, like literally, I made multiple tweets about it to the point that other gaming YouTubers would chime in. Lonely Goomba, Square-Eyed Jack, and one other one that I can't remember the name of right now. All of them said like, oh, you know, a Croc remake isn't, one, it's probably not going to happen, and two, why would you even want it? It's like, unless they fix the tank controls, I can't see there being any point to it. And I'm like, I was like partially just like fuck you, but at the same time I'm like, I kind of get where you're coming from.
No, exactly. So my whole thing was like, I could see it happening, right? Like there are more obscure or less popular.
Bubsy got a freaking like
Bubsy got a revival. SpongeBob, like a fucking SpongeBob game that was, you know, had a cult following, came back out of nowhere.
I want to see a proper Simpsons Hit and Run remaster, and also that Muppet Monster game. What was that called?
Muppets Monster Adventure. It's such a good little game. But yeah, so I thought Croc like had a chance, but the thing that was really just gnawing away at my brain was who even owned the rights to it, because it used to be owned, like, there was Argonaut, there was also Fox Interactive who published it, and there was this thing in the back of my brain, like, what if the rights to it have just, like, gone to some fucking weird studio, and that almost was confirmed to me when this mobile game studio just started putting out these games called Croc's World, and I've played a bit of them, and they're terrible. They're shitty Mario.
Do you think it was intentional, where they actually took the name of Croc because they thought there was like an IP?
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking. I, like, for some reason, I was just like, okay, some shitty mobile company has, like, somehow wrangled in the rights to Croc. And
That would have been the
then-
worst possible fate
Yeah.
for Croc, because a
This
similar
is-
thing almost happened to Commander King. Not a mobile company taking it over, but the company who had the rights to it. Bethesda tried to make a Commander King mobile game, and to be fair, like, the trailer, like, the animation stuff wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad, like, art direction, but just the
Yeah.
game itself looked really, really bad, and it's not what people
Yeah.
want out of a Commander King game.
Exactly. Yeah, no, totally. I saw that, but yeah, it's... So that's where I was at for the longest time. I was like, yeah, there's probably never going to be any sort of Croc thing unless someone wrangles the rights back. But I guess I was totally wrong, and maybe someone at Argonaut has them, maybe someone, somewhere else has them, I don't know, but either way, hell yeah, I'll take Croc HD, I'll take
Heck
a
yeah.
Croc on modern consoles that I can platinum, or...
I am absolutely going to dedicate like a whole game and chat or main channel series to just like Croc games at some point,
hell
because
yeah. Hell fucking
that seems to me that's like an event. That's
Yeah.
something that just needs to happen. Here's a question that could be like split into a few different questions. What game from the PS1 generation that hasn't already been remastered or rebooted would you like them to make a remaster / reboot or sequel to? And why is it Rayman?
Look, you're not wrong. Look, I love Rayman pieces. I'm actually on stream. That's twitch.tv/Ravenshaven.
Hey,
so
stop. Okay, well, I mean, you are a co-host of the Game and Chat channel, so I guess that's fine.
sneaky self-promo. On my Twitch at the moment, I'm actually live streaming the Rayman games. I'm playing through Rayman Redemption, which is a fan remake of Rayman 1, and it's really good. And I'm gonna play through the N64 version of Rayman 2, because I've never done that before. And then I'm just gonna play all the rest of it. I would love a modern remake of the early
Rayman
Rayman
2?
games. Particularly Rayman
Yeah.
2. I would love to
I
see
think if they did a
Honest-
trilogy thing with Rayman, Rayman 2, and Rayman 3, that would be so cool.
That would be great. Honestly, at this point, I would just take Rayman 2 getting ported to modern hardware, like even
Yes.
just showing up on like the Switch's
Switch,
NSO or
yeah.
something like that. I'd be so happy.
That would be
but-
absolutely amazing. Did you know that for a while, me and Fen were like playing through multiple versions of Rayman 2, trying to find like the right one?
The
because-
answer is the yeah.
So Rayman Revolution on PS2, I think it is the best looking port or remake or whatever of Rayman 2. However, it has this really annoying hub world that you can get very easily lost
Yep.
in,
Yep.
and I just way prefer the
Hall of Doors.
map.
Yeah.
Just the Hall of Doors. That's how I don't know. There's a part of me that really wants to do a Let's Play of like Rayman 2, but I'm not sure if I could. I'm not sure if is the Dreamcast one difficult to emulate.
So I actually got the Dreamcast version emulated pretty well a while back, but it did have some bugs.
Dang.
Honest to God, like the version, like the Dreamcast version is generally considered the best of the lot because it had some extra content. But the original N64/PC version, that's still a really good one, and that's
Well,
that's
the way I grew up with it, was on PS1, and that to me is like the
too.
definitive version of Rayman 2.
Me too, fam. But
Yeah.
I've been learning. I actually went out and bought the N64 version because I got an N64 for Christmas, and I was like, fuck yeah, I gotta start collecting this shit up. And I've been playing around in it, and yeah, there's some differences, and I fully understand why people who played that are like the PS1 version shit.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Okay. So, what would you consider the best Rayman 2?
It's probably either the N64 or Dreamcast version. I haven't played enough of the Dreamcast version to definitively say it's the best, but
So, oh, wow, really good on that. That was like a one-shot. Dang. I'm
I
so used to
remember-
chasing him.
Every time I remember, okay, he's gonna jump down there before he jumps back up, I've got a shot. But yeah, Rayman 2 is a very special game. One that I haven't played
absolutely.
through in a long time, so
I would
very
love
much
to get. play it all the way through to the end again because that final boss is like really, it's tough, but in like a really fun way.
Yeah. But to actually answer your question, the original the original question of like what would I love to see remade or brought back. God, there are a few, but I think we. Even though I never like, it's just another game that is horrendously nostalgic for me. Even though I never beat it. Tombi or Tomba.
Tombi, yeah. Didn't Klonoa recently get a remake?
Yes,
Tombi could
yes, it
totally
did.
like be in that exact same range, honestly, of like
It's another-
2.5D games.
It's another case of like, I don't know who has the rights to it because the developers were a small offshoot called Whoopie Camp who, like, ex-Capcom devs, I want to say. Like some of the people who worked on Ghouls and Ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
And they don't exist anymore. And I know Sony did publish it in certain regions, but I don't think they published it everywhere. So once again, it's just one of those who does this have enough of a market slash who would even do it, that sort of thing. But I love the shit out of Tombi, and I would love to see it. Love to see that stupid pink-haired boy brought back.
Me too. It's so
Yeah.
so cool.